Hello, my fellow glorious Gaians. Thank you for joining me, Amber, on my channel, Guidance Through Gaia, where I do tarot pick-a-card readings. If this is your first time, welcome. I hope that you find something useful here today. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for giving me another chance to read your energy. The topic today is, what are you being asked to clear out? We are in autumn now, which is a season of harvest. It's time to get rid of the old stuff, address our successes, keep what served us, what will benefit us, and then toss the rest away. I will let you know, in groups 1 and 2, I did use the term purge a lot because it's the same concept, but it's a little bit more efficient to say. However, after doing pile number 2, I reflected upon it because I was like, oh, well, if someone has like an eating disorder, the term purge could be difficult for them, So if that is off-putting for you, then I totally understand. And I apologize for that. I know language matters, but otherwise we'll get into it. We have 3 piles here. We have pile number 1 with the snowflake. Pile number 2 with the lotus flowers. And then pile number 3 with the whale. So go ahead, pick whatever pile or piles you feel drawn to, and I'll see you at your reading. Bye. Hello, group number 1. You chose the snowflake, so this will be your reading on what you are being asked to purge. The snowflake makes me think of stagnancy. It makes me think of isolation, seclusion, immobility, things just not progressing. And so we're going to see if that applies in any way to your reading. Now, one thing I want to do before we get into the cards here that will discuss further what this energy is, or this physical entity that you're being asked to purge. I want to use the astro dice just to see what areas of your life this may apply to. This is just kind of a fun way for me to really expand my understanding and my skills. So let's just do that. Okay. So we have Libra here. Libra can often talk about balance, and it talks about harmony. Okay, and then we have the planet of Venus, which is very interesting because Venus rules Libra, all right? It also rules Taurus. And Venus talks about love, beauty, passion, enjoyment. Okay, and then we've got the 3rd house. So I have to refer to my notes. Okay, so the 3rd house deals with the communication, okay? And that is actually ruled by Mercury here. But this topic could apply to creating more balance in your life. It could apply to romantic relationships, or your vision of yourself. It could apply to things that you derive pleasure from, or it could apply to communication to your higher self, communication in work, communication with your friends and family, etc., etc. So we are going to get into the oracle cards, and this will give us a broader understanding of what this suggestion is about what you purge, what you clear out, because we're in autumn now. For those of us who are in the northern hemisphere, we're starting to see the leaves change. We're starting to see things fall away. It's the time of harvest. So we have the card, the Acropolis. We have card number 8 with Scorpio and investigate. We have card number 7 with Black Moon Lilith in Libra. And it says you deserve balance. And we have the card Phobias. What's really interesting is that right now we are in Libra season, and I just attended like a women's full moon circle where we discussed about how to bring more balance into our lives. This card, the Acropolis, is from a deck that I don't really use very often. It's called the Sacred Sites Oracle cards, and I haven't used it very often because the way in which these cards read is very unique. You know, it's supposed to be like the past, the present, the future. Okay, so we're gonna see. Like, I just want to experiment more with how I can interpret this card or like this deck in my readings. But this is a card that comes from the direction of East. And in the booklet, it talks about Eastern cards representing like visionaries, and they can help us discover like how to motivate ourselves better. You know, it's this idea of we have a perspective, or we have a vision that we want to implement. We may not be doing so. And what's really beautiful about this card is you can see the sun and the moon here, and how they I had something where I was going with that, but the thought escaped me. Oh my gosh. But there is, you know, when you look at the sun and the moon, those are two very different energies. You know, the sun, so historically speaking, the sun actually did correlate with feminine energy. And you can see that in language, actually. So if you look at German, for example, you have der, die, and das, which are the gender articles. Der is masculine, die is feminine, das is neutral. The sun is called die Sonne, which is the sun, and it's a feminine article. But over the course of time and changing of going from like a matriarchal society to a patriarchal society, the sun became masculine and the moon feminine. But this is a balance of both energies, you know, of having like that deep, thoughtful insight, but then also taking that and creating something. We look down here, this is the character Psyche with Pan, right? And in ancient times, Pan was really revered as a god, but as Christianity came in, Pan became a symbol for the devil and something for evil. And so this card does ask you to look at like maybe what misconceptions you have, beliefs that you may hold that are not necessarily accurate or fair. And then we have here Athena, you know, who is a goddess who is all about wisdom and insight. You know, one of her symbols is the owl, but she's also a fierce goddess. You know, she's decked out in this armor, and she assists in war. And so when I'm looking at this card and I'm comparing it to the others, we have Scorpio with investigate here and phobias. You know, those are very like, I would say, passive intellectual cards. Those are cards that talk about our internal energy. So it seems like there's something that you're thinking a lot about, group number 1, that maybe you feel that you have to kind of pick apart and look through. It's very clear that there's some kind of action you want to take, but I think you're spending too much time thinking about what kind of action you can take, thinking about how you can achieve the best resolution, or about the possibilities of what could go wrong. Scorpio is a water sign, and Scorpios do have a tendency and reputation for being very intense, and sometimes overthinking, and when we have phobias, we're so focused on the fears of what may happen that can be very crippling. Phobias prevent us from acting. If we have a fear of spiders and we are cleaning our basement, seeing a spider can send us into such a panic that we abandon the job. If we have a phobia of heights, we may be very hesitant to go hiking if, someone invites us. If we have a fear of public speaking, then that can cause us to reject offers to share our stories publicly. And so it can be very important to overcome these phobias, to understand that even if our fears exist because of understandable circumstances, that they don't have to hold us back, And I feel like with this Black Moon Lilith in Libra, you might just be so focused on balance. Like, how can I do this in a way that it is balanced? And by focusing so much on balance, I feel like that's truly where you're creating an imbalance. Okay, if that makes sense. It's like it's good to sit there and contemplate before you take action, but if all you're ever doing is thinking about something, then you'll never complete the task at hand. So if you're writing a book, you could create as many drafts as your heart desires, but if you don't actually write out the story, and when I mean drafts, I mean outlines. So you could outline the story as much as you want, but if you don't actually write the story, and if you don't actually publish it or submit it, it's never going to get done, You could sit there and you could, if you're a teacher, create as many lesson plans as you'd like, or design your classroom as much as you'd like, but if you don't open up your doors and take the time to teach the kids, then all you're doing is just kind of existing in a dollhouse, of pretending to be a teacher. But to be a teacher, you have to teach. All right? So we're going to use tarot to see how we can go about clearing this stagnancy. Look at that, the Knight of Wands. So it kind of makes me think of when I was at my full moon circle, we talked about creating balance. Opposites create balance, and like increases like. And so if you're too stagnant in your life, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to do something active, because being active will create more activity. As somebody who struggles heavily with depression, if I'm not sleeping properly and taking my medication and all that kind of stuff, it's very hard to do. That's not something that you're just just do this and you'll be fine. But, it does hold a principle of truth, So the Knight of Wands, that's all about fire and passion and creating action. That's really just kind of like a get up and do it movement. I feel like whatever this is, whether this is a conversation, a business, a project, or even if it's like, you're searching for a relationship, you're thinking about like, okay, maybe what kind of partner do I want to have, or like, how can I be the best partner? Or maybe like you're talking to people, but you're not actually going out on dates. You're just kind of continuing that talking stage. It's very important for you to actually go out and just do things. So we have the 10 of Wands in reverse with the World in reverse, the Empress in reverse, and the 9 of Wands in reverse. So a lot of very challenging energy. So normally when I look at the 10 of Wands in reverse, I look at it as kind of a relief card, a card of setting down your struggles, your burdens. But in this instance, with these cards kind of clarifying it, I look at this as a card of utter exhaustion. Like you've just collapsed. And it looks like that's because there's just really a lack of self-care in here, whether that's physical self-care, mental self-care, or self-care in the prospect of whatever this situation is. We've got the World here in reverse. There's something that you haven't completed, a cycle that you're just kind of perpetuating, group number one, and you really need to kind of close that cycle out. Say like, okay, you know what? I've done what I can in this situation. I've thought this process out, and now I'm going to move forward. Even if it's like so for instance, we'll take the, I don't know, romantic partner route. You're looking for a romantic partner and you're chatting with a bunch of people, but you're not necessarily going out on dates with them. Maybe look back at why is that? Are there feelings of a previous relationship that you haven't reconciled, where maybe you're like, I just don't want someone who's going to hurt me like this person did, or I've just had so many unsuccessful relationships in the past, even if they weren't like painful or toxic, like it just never seemed to work out. There may need to be some there needs to be some closure that you give yourself, where you muck through those feelings and you resolve them yourself, because sometimes other people can't offer you that resolution. The Empress in reverse signifies not giving yourself care and nurturing. The Empress in reverse is somebody who doesn't see her worth, and she spends so much time focusing on how she can appeal to other people, or how she can take care of the needs of others, but she doesn't focus on her own needs, and she doesn't lift herself up, So the Empress in reverse energy is really calling for you to kind of flip that around, Notice the ways in which you have had success, the ways in which you've made progress. Acknowledge that your ideas are good, that you have the skill. This card talks about having a vision and sometimes maybe doubting your ability to create that vision. It's time for you to acknowledge that like you can do it. It may take time, whatever this is, but you are more than capable of being successful in this. This may also require you to pay more attention to what you eat, take more care in how you dress, maybe commit to self-affirmations daily, or occasionally treat yourself. Like if you work a lot, it's going to be very important for you to set aside time daily or weekly to just like give yourself a break, and not just like I'm going to sit here and meditate kind of break, unless that's something that's really helpful for you. But like go out and do something that you enjoy. Make time to spend with friends. Make time to do an activity that you like. Make time to take a relaxing bath or go for a nature walk or get in touch with family or friends that you may not connect with as much. Just things that really nurture you and your soul. And then the Nine of Pentacles in reverse talks about feeling insecure in your independence, feeling like you need to rely on other people to be successful. And so group number 1, the universe is really guiding for you to, and it's funny because this card talks about this too, like, don't worry so much about other people. Like, yes, caring about our impact on other people is important, or the needs of others, but it should not be at your detriment, okay? Well, I feel like these two just want to come out. The Magician in reverse with Judgment, okay? You've got, I feel like you've got, yeah, you've got quite a bit of major arcana here. So this is just some really heavy energy, group number 1. The Magician card is talking about alchemy, about our ability to change things from one substance to another. But in reverse, it's the lack of ability to do so. And the Judgment card really calls for us to acknowledge our own role in being able to do that. So things haven't changed for you because you haven't changed anything. You know, you're too sedimentary, you're too frozen in this, like, this snowflake frame of mind, okay? And so the first step in recovery is admitting you have a problem, right? Like, a lot of us have heard that adage. And so the first step in realizing that nothing has happened or nothing will happen is acknowledging that that's because it's reliant upon you. Like, you have to take the first step. Okay, is there anything else? Anything else? I'm going to say no. But we look at the bottom of the deck and it's the Hanged Man, group number 1. So it really is time for a different perspective. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a couple of oracle cards that can put you in the right mindset, we'll say, for getting this cleared out of your life. To recap, it's time to just kind of take action. It's time to nurture yourself, close out a cycle, and believe in your independent capabilities. It's time to look at things from a different perspective and acknowledge that, like, nothing is changing or nothing can even happen if you don't take the first step. So enter the temple of your truth, group number 1, and learn to value it. Okay, so yeah, there does seem to be an issue here where maybe you just don't value yourself or your opinions or your experiences enough. And that is card number 19. It says this card is like the Joker in the deck. If you draw it, something major is about to happen. You will experience God. You will recognize the source of all being. God, or the divine source, is not a living being, not a thing or idea, but an experience, something that pervades and changes you. Everything is in God. Everything you can see, all of creation is within the divine source. At times you may feel disconnected, but God is flowing through you at each and every moment. God, the divine source, or the term you prefer to use, is within you and around you. Enter the temple of truth that lies within your heart and call to God there. The time has come. Seek out the silence that you need for this and be ready. Search for your truth, but not in the outside world. It can only be found in your own heart. Open yourself to understanding that truth is entirely individual. Everyone has their own truth, which is good, since everyone feels and sees things in their own way. Everyone has the right to his or her own truth and should be wise and generous enough to respect and tolerate that of others. Start to value your own truth. Set out on the journey of experiencing yourself. Be brave. You have been ready for a long time. Exactly. You've done the investigation, right? You've already done a lot of the soul searching. Like, you are ready for this group number 1. Don't hold yourself back. Recognize that it is your mission to be happy and to experience new things. For you, there is only one temple of truth, and you will find it inside you. Deep in your heart is where you will find all the answers that prompted your questions. Now, read the previous sentence again and take it to heart, but focus on it and understand it with your mind as well. So, your power animal with this card is sheep or lamb. Herbal essential oil is silver fir. Healing crystal is, I'm going to pronounce it so wrongly, incorrectly, Larimar. And the number is 1. All right. There was another one of these cards. I can't remember what it was, but one of these other cards also talked about honing into your intuition, because like the answer was within you. Okay, so what other message do you have for group number 1? This is card number 35, which is calling on courage. So often we hide from our fears instead of going toward them, but this only gives more power to that which we fear. The suppression of fear creates control, anger, and division within and without. Little do we know that on the other side of the gate of fear are our greatest potentials, highest callings, and opportunities for more love and prosperity. This card is a message that there are fears that you are ready to face in your life, for your soul is ready to grow beyond what it has known into greater freedom and expanse. Whether your fear is the fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of being seen, fear of abandonment, rejection, or all of the above, you are a brave soul destined to heal through your fears. Accept that your fears exist to show you where your soul needs to grow. They are great big guideposts on your path, calling you toward them. Now is not the time to hide from fear. The more resistance you have toward your fears, the more you are letting fear seduce you into doubt and insecurity. Break through any resistance and transmute fear into courage. Courage lives in your heart, brave one. It is born from your mighty love. Stay in your heart as you face what scares you. Hold compassion for yourself and celebrate every small or big fear you face with your lion heart. You are courageous and can do anything. So absolutely. And we can look at this Knight of Wands as a courage card as well. Somebody who goes into like the unknown with passion and vigor. And you see how she's like, this woman's hugging this lion, and then there's like also this little rabbit here and here. It's like our fears are all just a part of our life experience, and fears aren't necessarily bad things, right? It's just sometimes they exist because we don't understand. It kind of makes me think of Psyche with Pan again, how he was revered as a god until another like religious belief came and determined that he should be feared. So yeah, it might be time for you to face your fears, group number 1. And the thing is, like, I know you can do it. The universe knows you can do it. We're all supporting you here. It's scary, but it's worth it. Okay? So group number 1, I hope that this helped you in some way. If it resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up, maybe a share, and if you'd like to join our family but haven't done so, you can hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll know whenever I upload a new video. Bye! Welcome, group number 2. You chose the lotus flowers. So this will be your reading on what you are being asked to purge. So the lotus flower often is a symbol of strength and growth. They are flowers that grow in extremely muddy waters that they're not often, the water itself is not often seen as conducive to growth or fruition. And so these often represent like overcoming difficult times or fruitfulness at a time when things were like barren or hard, a harsh environment. So normally I see that as a very positive omen. Like I'm big on my lotus flowers, but I feel like in this instance, you may be trying to kind of what we would say like get water from a rock, you know? You may be looking at a circumstance that is unfavorable and trying to force fertility out of that ground, okay? We're going to see how the cards relate to that message. But first, I want to use some astro dice because I want to see how this may apply to different areas in your life. So this purging could be a physical thing. It could be leaving a job, leaving a relationship. It could be purging your home, like of unnecessary materials. It could also be like an internal purging of thoughts and beliefs, feelings. So we'll just check it out. Okay, so we have Sagittarius energy that can talk about travels, that can talk about knowledge. I often see Sagittarians as like entrepreneurs. We've got Mars, okay? And Mars is a house of action, right? And Mars can also indicate like how we handle tense situations, how we behave when we're angry. And then we have the 9th house, which is also correlated with Sagittarius energy, and that deals with like philosophy, okay? And it's ruled by Jupiter, which is about expansion. So this could be a thought process. This could be an entrepreneurship. This could be a relocation, or some sort of action that you're taking, okay? So now let's get into the cards. We have card number 7 with Libra balance, but it's in reverse. And it's funny because the last group got Libra in the astro dice, and we're in Libra season still. Then now we have Black Moon Lilith and Capricorn with elevated status, card number 10. We have lessons and blessings. And we have the Yao Needle. Okay. Let's see. What can we get here? There is a situation in your life, whether it's like an internal situation or an external situation, that is very imbalanced, group number 1. And I think that you're taking that as a challenge, which can sometimes be very healthy and very good. You know, we don't want to give up at the first sight of imbalance, but it's not budging for you. And it's not going to budge, whatever it is. This elevated status card with the Black Moon Lilith and Capricorn makes me think of that scene in Mean Girls where it's like, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's never gonna happen, okay? You're beating a dead horse, group number 2. Did I call you group number 1 in the beginning? I don't know. But you're really trying to create something. And maybe it's because you feel like it's going to give you status. You're going to be able to prove something to yourself or to others. Maybe you really think like, hey, this is a great idea. Like, I don't know, say if you're a business person and you have a really innovative idea for something that's never been done before. And people are telling you like, oh man, you can't do that. Like, that's not physically possible. And you're like, no, it's fine, guys, it's fine. I'm going to prove to you that I'm wrong. Well, that you're wrong, excuse me. Sometimes, yeah, like that can be a positive attitude to have. I mean, there are plenty of things that we have now available to us that in the past people would have thought completely illogical and impossible. But you might be like pouring a lot of attention or money into something and not getting any results. And so in reality, I feel like you're kind of crippling yourself, group number 2. And you're missing out potentially on other possibilities that could benefit you. We have lessons and blessings, okay? And so I feel like you're trying to, like when we have a hardship, how sometimes we can turn it into a lesson. Like it's kind of like, are you going to be my next lesson or are you going to be my next blessing? And sometimes things just don't have that deeper meaning. I am someone who, I understand that sometimes trusting that something has a meaning or can be a blessing, it can be very helpful for us, but it can also if we rely upon that mentality, and it can cross a boundary and make us delulu. Not everything has to have a lesson. Not everything has to be a blessing. Not everything has to have a deeper meaning. Sometimes it's just, it exists. And sometimes it's something that we just need to kind of let go. This card right here, the Owl Needle, is, it's in, what was it? It's in Hawaii. Where was it? Maui. Okay. So this card is a card that represents the West. Okay. We see that the needle here is pointing to the West. And the West in this deck indicates, spiritual warriors. Okay. And it says, sights of the West call the spiritual warrior within to arms, challenging those who gravitate to these places to deal with their fears, pains, and anxieties in the here and now. These sights resonate most with those who rely on their inner knowing, calling you to wield your power wisely and understand the beauty of universal interconnection more, meaning detached from the drama of it all. By paying attention to the messages of the middle world, which these are segmented into 3. So you've got the lower world, which is the past, the middle, the present, and the upper, the future. You can accomplish a great deal in your life right now. Choosing many of these cards is a reminder to exercise discernment and the right use of power and to stop tagging along behind those who have found worldly success. And I really like this deck. So it says the energy focus here is entanglement. Okay, so entanglement makes me think of knots, vines, things that have become obviously entangled, and trying to free them, relieve them. So if you've got a whole bunch of utility cords or whatever, and they're all knotted up, you're having to kind of pull them apart and try to separate them so that you can use those individual appliances again. So the octopus here talks about something waiting to ensnare you, and that it's necessary to be cautious. It warns you of an entrapment in a situation that does not express your highest purpose. Perhaps there is a part of you that likes to get involved in drama or whatnot, or challenges, and that you adore the intrigue, and maybe it fills a part of your life that is otherwise empty, but the octopus asks you to keep your cool and, most importantly, to remain fully aware of the circumstances surrounding you. Allow the eye of Kanaloa, Hawaiian god of the ocean and healing, to boost your physical, mental, and emotional energies as you access its power by means of a meditative gaze. So then we've got the middle world here, okay, and we're looking primarily at the tiki statues, the statues of various gods. So they represent the ancestral spirits of Hawaii. And placed throughout the Hawaiian Islands, these masked tikis personify the volatile forces of nature, the earthquakes and erupting volcanoes of this region. Do you find that you cause others to tremble when they witness one of your outbursts? Do you realize the impact you have on other people? This card calls you to hold back and look at the consequences of your actions. Although the very beautiful and sacred Iao Valley, cloaked in tropical vegetation, is a place of seeming tranquility, the steep-sided mountain known as the Needle served as a lookout point when King Kamehameha defeated the forces of Maui in a ruthless battle in order to unite the islands. Consider leaving the scene of any conflict as quietly as possible instead of erupting. When it seems safe to do so, simply seize your opportunity to walk away serenely with your head held high. Also, I want to say, like, you can look at this island, or as these clusters of islands, of like, hey, look at these beautiful transformations that occurred because of like dangerous and violent circumstances. But those are not things that you're in control of. Like, those were environmental factors. And so at this point, whatever task it is that you're trying to complete, whatever you think that you can like accomplish, is heavily reliant upon outside circumstances. And those outside circumstances they're just not available to you. You can't control them. You can't create them. And so even if what you are wanting to do is feasibly possible, it's not the right circumstances for it. Okay. And so it's honestly at this point in your life, you're in your best interest to at least put this on pause, walk away, do something else. And then the upper world. So this talks about Pele. She personifies the powerful volcanoes of Hawaii and is known as Eater of the Land, as she devours everything that her fiery hot lava touches. You must recognize her impetuous qualities within yourself. Can you admit that you have tendencies to be jealous, aggressive, capable of sudden rage, or even violence? That may be something that is pertinent to you. If this especially deals with like connections to other people, you may feel as if you have to be aggressive in order to maintain respect or to remain love. As somebody who has dealt with anger issues, it is absolutely necessary to get psychological help. You know, like we can unlearn those angry or volatile responses. We can learn how to be healthier people. And I'll tell you what, that kind of behavior, you know, the compassionate, the forgiving, the calm, respectful behavior will actually create more love and respect in your relationships, okay? And you know what? When we're talking about this, we're seeing a lot of that Mars energy, guys. Like, Mars is the god of war, okay? So it's very cool how this is intersecting. Pele can also be the gentle, loving, and serene part of the lush vegetation that grows from the fertile lands of her islands. Perhaps you were the one who was scared and controlled in a relationship. And if you are, like, that's a good point. If you're the person who's hoping that things will change, they won't. Okay, not unless, like, if you're with an abusive partner, for instance, things will not change unless that person decides to change. And actions speak louder than words, okay? So, like, them saying, oh, I swear I won't let this happen again, or I swear I'll do better, that's not good enough. No, that's not good enough. They need to show you the change and like get professional help. If so, then it would be wise for you to call upon the goddess Pele to ignite your courage and strength with her fire to enable you to walk away from this unhealthy situation. So, yeah, there's something very obstinate about this energy that's refusing to acknowledge that it's time to walk away from something, even if that's just like old habits. And there's a lot of fire and stubbornness, maybe even some violence and anger, okay? So we're going to see how the universe will encourage you to clear this energy out? Like, what can you do to purge this from your life? What action can group number 2 take to purge this energy from their life? The 9 of Pentacles in reverse with the Queen of Wands. So that's interesting. The 9 of Pentacles in reverse is a lot about codependency. And the Queen of Wands is somebody who's very confident. You know, she attracts what she desires. She is strong. She is independent. And so it could be that if there are any financial impactors regarding this, like say, for instance, let's say there is an abusive relationship, okay? Where maybe you might be the one who is financially dependent upon somebody. Or maybe your relationship is just being negatively impacted by finances, you know? Like maybe the relationship itself isn't abusive, but maybe someone is unemployed, or maybe someone is working at a job that is just, you know, they're not seeing an increase in income. They're not seeing an increase in hours, you know, because for instance, if someone's working retail, it's really not uncommon, at least in my experience, to only be given like 10, 15 hours a week. Like, how is anybody going to survive off of that, you know? And if this is a project, you may feel like, I need this project. Like, this project could be big. This project is what's going to bring in the income. But the universe is saying, like, don't put so much emphasis on the income. You know, you can leave without being financially independent. Or if you're not seeing an improvement in this line of work and it's causing stress in your relationship, you need to reconsider your employment. You need to find something that is more reliable for you. Or if this is a project where you feel like you're obsessing over it and this is going to be what's bringing in you money, it's not. Not right now. In fact, you're probably pouring too much money into it. So it's okay to, like, it's really important for you right now to take I guess your concerns of money out of the equation there. You know, or like your preconceived ideas of like, I will get more hours, or I will get someone to buy the rights to this, or I won't be able to make it because I'm financially dependent. You know, so it's very important to have confidence in yourself, and to look at the financial aspect at it as differently, depending on your circumstance. How can they purge this energy from their life? The 2 of Wands in reverse. Make a clean break. Yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, so for someone leaving a dangerous relationship, like if it's a very abusive relationship, definitely create a system, you know, whether that's with like your friends, your family, an organization that helps or whatever. Don't tell the partner about this. You know, that is statistically speaking one of the most dangerous times for a person to leave a relationship. You know, if they're not treating you well, there's no need to tell them that you're leaving. Just do it. If if this has to do with a company that you're working for that's promised you like a promotion or more hours or an increase in salary, and it's something they haven't done. And you, especially like if you've talked about this with them a time or two, don't give them benefit of the doubt. Don't try to renegotiate. Don't sit there and remind them. Just start looking for a different job, dude. Like, they will tell you anything that they can to keep you on the hook. So it's not even worth it. And if this is about a project, it's time to just make a clean break from it, you know? Like, you don't need to try to respin your idea. You don't need to conceive it differently. You don't need to try to, like, pitch it to somebody else. Like, just let it go for now. Okay? Like Stephen King, okay, in Stephen King's memoirs on writing, he talks about putting your manuscript in your drawer for at least 6 months when you've finished it so that you can return to it with a fresh set of eyes. You know, because if you keep working on it right after you finish it, you don't really allow yourself time to forget things or to think of things in a different frame of mind. So you can end up getting burnt out. You can end up not producing the best quality you could. If you give yourself time away from something, you can start to see the flaws and the solutions more easily. We've got the Sun in reverse here. Now, the Sun is a positive card, even in reverse. But what I feel like this is telling you is just to be more realistic. You know, you might have been in that stage of like, it's going to get better, or things are going to change, or my luck's going to change. But it's time to accept what this situation is and like not sensationalize it or romanticize it so much. And then the Ace of Cups in reverse. Really feel that's telling you to kind of like detach emotionally from whatever the circumstance is. You know, if it's, for instance, this job that you've been at for a long time, it may hurt if they're not giving you more hours or they're not promoting you or they're not giving you a raise. But sometimes that's just how it is. You know, and for instance, like when I worked for Family Dollar, you could have been a cashier for 15 years there and you were not getting a raise unless the minimum wage went up in your state. And you were going to make less than that minimum wage. It didn't matter how dedicated an employee you were not going to get a raise. Because either they want you to just be content where you're at and continue under those conditions, or they want you to step up and take on a heavier position. And it has nothing to do with you as a value of a person. It's all about corporate mindset. You know, it's going to be very, if this is another person, to separate your feelings for them. Like, the reality is, feelings are not facts. You know, and just because we love somebody doesn't mean that we should be with them. That's a hard reality to come to sometimes, but it is necessary. And you are absolutely going to have, it's absolutely going to be necessary for you to grieve. But I think you kind of need to dissociate from that feeling for a little bit long enough to get out the door. And then, like, if this is a project, maybe you feel like this is my baby. This is my life's purpose. You know, separate yourself from that. Like, don't let this thing define you. You are worth so much more than just that. Okay? And then we have the Four of Swords in reverse, which talks about get up on out of there. You know, it's time to get back into motion. It's time to explore different avenues, okay? And to familiarize yourself with, or refamiliarize yourself with society, your friends, your family, your other interests. Okay, finally, we're going to get a couple of oracle cards as guidance. Like, support. Oh, look at this. A message is trying to reach you. Card number 37. Be vigilant. The spirit world wishes to find and touch you. I don't know if I want them touching me. Let's see, 37. Get in touch with your feelings and emotions. A message from the spirit world is trying to find its way to you. You are much too busy with worldly things and with yourself just now. They distract and preoccupy you so much that you were failing to take notice of the message. Cleanse yourself, let go of your fears for the future, and give expression to your desires and dreams, perhaps by writing them down, portraying them in a picture or collage, or telling your friends about them. Feel free to use modern technology such as social media if you like. Be vigilant and prepared. Have an open and receptive heart, since this is where you will receive the message. It will flow like a golden light to the center of your heart, into the sacred space of your truth. Leave your worldly troubles behind so that the Great Spirit can touch you. Reach out and touch someone. The message will be about fulfillment and truth. It will be important to victory. So your power animal is a raven. Your herbal essential oil is lemon. Your healing crystal is magnetite, and your number is 1. So yeah, you know what? That's a good point I didn't even think about. Holding on to this could really be preventing you from receiving something else. You know, a better opportunity, a better partner, a better accomplishment. Okay, so what other message do you have for group number 2 of support? Like, what other supportive message do you have? You have a couple. So we have card number 8 with Weave Your Web. And we have card number, I believe that's 44, with Tending to Your Love. Interesting, we have, I don't think we have it in the other card. Nope, just this one. We have lotus flowers there too, and pomegranates. Okay. So we'll read from both of them. Card number 8. That's the wrong deck. Where am I at, bruh? Where am I? Oh, I'm right here. Holy creatress, weaver of webs, don't forget that you are the writer of your own story. The world we live in is the world we've written, and often if we are disconnected from our creative power, we don't even realize we are the writers. Exactly. So if you're like in a toxic relationship, you might be feeling as if you don't have control over anything. That's not true. If you are in a position where you're waiting for like a promotion or a raise or more hours, you may feel once again that like, oh, I'm just this peon. Like, you don't have to be. Get a different job, boo. That sort of thing. Sometimes we carry the stories of the generations that came before that weave into our reality. But dear soul, you are too bright to feel bound by words of the past. Your story is far too powerful, unique, and expansive to have been written before. You are here to create your life and live your unique truth, for your creativity is beyond measure. If something in your life feels disempowering, is causing unnecessary struggle, or feels limiting in any way, then it is time to reweave. You are not the victim of your life, but the creator. Do not let anyone convince you that you are not in control of your destiny. Cast your web with your words. Do the things that have never been done before and set this world ablaze with your magic. And then 44. Tending to your love. Beautiful one, you are being guided to tend to your being in love with nourishing self-care. Self-care is not a quick fix. It is not just a bath or an at-home facial, and it seldom looks like what another person's self-care routine is. Your self-care practice will be whatever provides deep nourishment for your spirit as you grow. The things that nourish you in a real way, deeply felt in your heart. Your self-care practices must carry the fullness of your love and care to create real nourishment for your being. Your soul resonates with the unconditional love in your heart, and this is the fuel that will refill your well time and time again. This card is guiding you to take time to focus on your love and care to nourish yourself deeply today. Maybe that looks like taking a bath with flowers and crystals, cooking yourself a beautiful meal, or letting yourself sleep in until noon. Maybe it's taking a long break from email and social media, turning off your phone and going for a walk in nature, spending the day freely creating, meditating, giving yourself a massage with warm herbal oils. or doing nothing at all. Allow your heart to guide you as you give yourself the gift of your love. Yeah, because I feel like you've placed your value in other people or in the success of other things. And I feel like it's really time for you to just kind of like pull back from all that and value yourself. So to refresh on these tarot cards, have confidence in yourself and pull away from your concerns regarding money and like see how you can succeed beyond that. Do a clean cut. You know, there's no negotiating here. Have optimism about like what your future holds and your capabilities are, but be realistic about the situation. Kind of pull off the glasses and take action. Pull yourself out of a state of rest and then kind of emotionally detach yourself from the situation. So group number 2, I hope that you found this reading useful. If you did, I would love to hear how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and share if you would, please. And if you'd like to be a part of our family but have not done so, you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and you'll know whenever I upload a new video. Bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose the whale that says O, and this is going to be your reading on what you should clear out. So when I'm looking at this, it's very calm, it's very relaxed, it's very, like, pleasant, and that is a wonderful thing. But I almost kind of feel like the universe is saying that maybe we need to be a little more grounded and a little bit more serious. Before we get into the finer details of the issue at hand, we're going to use the Astro Dice to see how or where this could apply in your life. This is just, I think, kind of a fun little way for me to harness my skills and kind of further develop them. So we have the 6th house, which I have to refer to my notes, is about your health and your daily routine, okay? Then we have Scorpio, and Scorpionic energy is wonderful, but it's very intense. You know, it's very intimate. So this would involve anything in your life where you're overindulging or you feel too reliant upon it, or too attached to it. And then we have, these are one of the ones. Yes, this is Saturn. And Saturn talks about restriction. Okay, so this may be applicable in an area that you need to kind of rein in a little bit more and restrict yourself on. Okay, and we're going to get into these cards. Now, it's funny because I came to a similar conclusion about what I just expressed before I pulled these cards, because I do a lot of times pre-shuffle oracle cards, draw them, and then look at their meanings in the books, because I have so many oracle decks and I forget things very easily. So I want to give you as accurate and detailed information as possible. But we're going to talk about this, guys. We're going to talk about it. So we got card number 13 with Dignified. We have the card Greco-Roman. Card Baalbek. And card number 42 with Exaltation, Master Manifester. Yeah, and so overall, like, this energy is what maybe outsiders looking in might expect me to encourage. Like, this is, for me, this is very, you know, YOLO energy, living your best life, high confidence, carefree, kind of letting things roll off your shoulders, very vigilant in your pursuits of your desires, social, spontaneous. And those are behaviors that really can be positive things, but I think that you're overindulging in that behavior. So if we go to the Baalbek card, which Baalbek is, I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it's in Lebanon. And this card is a card that is designated towards the east. And so in this deck, the east represents kind of about your vision, your sense of creativity, and your motivation, all right? And these cards they're very unique. I've never seen another deck orchestrated like this, but it's like you've got the bottom, the middle, and the top that all represent something different along the same theme. Now, this card overall is the energy of overindulgence or just indulgence, because it's not necessarily seen, unnecessarily seen as a negative. But this is the god, I think it's pronounced Bacchus, who was kind of like a party god. And this card talks a lot about how in the past, pre-Christian era, sensuality and inebriation kind of were seen as ways to like honor and connect with spirituality. And I mean, we still kind of have that thought process to this day with modern Christianity. It's more like, the little shot of wine or whatever for communion. And then there's with like, I don't know, like hippie communities and stuff, the idea of like getting high on weed or like doing LSD or shrooms or something to have kind of an out of body or a spiritual experience. But by and large, especially in like predominantly Judeo-Christian, Abrahamic religions, like sensuality and substance use are far more conservative than they used to be. And so I think that there's a lifestyle you're living, whether it's like substance use or having a larger group of friends, maybe giving yourself a large budget financially, to kind of just play with. And I think in the beginning that was used as a way for you to connect more deeply with yourself. It's like, I'm going to buy new clothes so I can better express myself. I'm going to go out and I'm going to have fun with all my friends because I just had a really bad breakup. I have spent so much of my life worried about my, when I was in school, my grades, and then like I was overworking myself. And so, you know what? Now I'm going to go out and I'm just going to have days where I let loose. And so I think the universe is kind of telling you at this point, like, this lifestyle has served its purpose and it's time to tone it down. Okay? With the Greco-Roman card, that makes me think of just like pride, I would say most people have a sense of pride, but thinking of like the Greco-Roman era of like how great the art was, the battles that took place, the knowledge that was developed, just kind of feeling as if maybe you're at this point in your life where you have too much of an ego, maybe, where you feel like you're on top of the world. And I think that this is just a call for you to kind of come back down to earth. We've got this dignified strength card here. So to be dignified is an aspect in a chart that relates a zodiac sign in relation to the planet or the house that it's in. You know, if you've got a planet, like if you've got, for instance, like Virgo and Mercury, that's dignified. You know, that's really going to be the best example of how to like communicate ideas and interpret messages and express yourself. That's really the best example you can get of it. But if you have it, what's its opposite sign? I feel like, is it Aries? No. Is it Cancer? I feel like, oh, wait a minute. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Taurus, Virgo. I don't know. I actually don't know. Oh, because this is, sorry guys, I'm looking at my little pendulum board, but that is broken down into elements, which makes sense. So, anyway, whatever's opposite of Virgo in Mercury would be more of a challenging aspect. You might have a harder time communicating or expressing yourself. You might be more emotional or more closed off. And so we're seeing this doorway kind of in the clouds, and I love it. It's so interesting to me how these three cards all strongly depict architecture. And so it's kind of like this is the foundation right now that kind of needs to come down, or else you need to step outside of the life that you've built, you know. And I think you need to allow yourself to be vulnerable again, and I think you need to allow yourself to be humble. And with this exaltation master manifester card, this talks about having the strength and the ability to like really bring your dreams to fruition. And first of all, congratulations, you know, on whatever successes you've achieved at this point, up to this point or whatever. And I'm sure there are many more to come. But I don't think the universe really wants you to focus on like your higher consciousness or your spirituality right now. I think it really wants you to focus on the ground level, you know, the people who are in your life, the relationships that you have. Have you stayed in connection with your family, your friends? What's your community going through? I feel like right now you just might be so in the clouds that you're kind of out of touch with reality. Okay, and you just need to step that back a little bit more. So we're going to use the tarot to see what actions you can take in order to kind of clear this energy out and move into a more grounded state. Excuse me. All right, so what can group 3 do to help clear this energy? What can group 3 do to help clear this energy? Okay, so we've got the Star and the Knight of Cups. And the Two of Cups, which is kind of funny that we have the Star. You know, the Star is a card of like hope, you know, and then we've got these two cards that are dealing with cups, which is creativity and emotions. All right. What this looks like though is definitely investing in some of your connections that you may have been neglecting. You know, this looks like it's probably not a heavy situation. You know, I'm not getting any feelings of like needing to have a heart-to-heart with somebody to talk with them. I'm not sensing really any apologies here. I think this is just more so making the effort to invest more energy into your relationships and showing the people in your life that you care about and who care about you, that you do prioritize them, you know, that maybe life got away from you a little bit, but you haven't forgotten them, you know. And so this could be like, go out to eat, or, you know, get some coffee, get some tea, go to a movie, go to some kind of workshop, or just for a walk in the park or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It doesn't have to be anything like emotional. It's just taking that time out to reconnect with your fellow humans. And I do think it probably needs to be a little bit more of a chill event. Like, I don't know if you should go skydiving. Be like, hey, yo, bro, you want to go skydiving with me? Like, I mean, maybe, but I feel like it needs to be something that's more about the time you're spending with the person than the activity that you're doing, you know? The Emperor. Yeah, and so there still is very much this leader energy. Which I feel coming from here, but I feel like the Emperor energy is more of a contained energy, more in control of oneself, more disciplined. You know, emperors aren't out partying all the time. I mean, it's not to say that they don't, get their freak off every once in a while. Not at a P. Diddy. Okay, anyway. But yeah, I think it's just time for you to kind of look at things in your life that may require you to take on more of like the proactive, responsible role. So maybe you need to sit down and look at your finances and kind of reorganize some things. Maybe you need to do your taxes. Maybe there's some work that you've kind of put on the back burner, or some projects that you told people you would help out with that you haven't. Maybe I just feel like that there are some responsibilities that you may need to address at this point in time. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is lovely because we're talking about these structures here and how maybe the structure that you've built has kind of served its purpose. But this is still saying like, okay, you can still have a foundation. You can still have something stable, but it's because I feel like this fun, this spontaneity offered you some kind of stability. At least in some way. And this Ten of Pentacles is more about being grounded, more about tangible stability, okay? And then we have the Hierophant. So wow, like, aww. Okay, so we've got the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Wands in reverse with the Lovers. Which says to me, like, maybe you're afraid that if you take on this responsibility, if you kind of remove yourself more from this connection with the universe, like focusing on your spirituality, or, you know, just having a lot of fun, not being so serious about life, that you might feel like you're going to become overburdened. Like maybe you'll resort back to being extremely stressed, exhausted, if that was a case. But I feel like the universe is saying, like, no, like, it's just the phase of your life has shifted now, you know, and it's time to adjust. I just want to see what this Hierophant is about. The Four of Pentacles. So that's about withholding. That's about maintaining stability. If there's a business that you have been wanting to start or a project, the universe is really encouraging you to do that. This might also be about getting more involved in your community. So if you were thinking of like doing volunteer work or like getting involved with activities or clubs, like, you know, if you like to do archery, getting into seeing if there's something that caters to that in your community. If you like to read, doing a book club, if whatever it may be, you know, maybe you become part of like a neighborhood watch or something. I think it's time for you to become more committed to things. Group number 3. Okay, so we've got spend time with your loved ones in a way that focuses more on the interaction with them than the activity. Step into a more responsible and disciplined role. Address any responsibilities that you've kind of put on the back burner. Definitely look at your finances and focus on building like a tangible security. Like, do you need to put away some money for savings, you know? Or do you need to start looking into better insurance or something like that? And then really get yourself involved in something committed, whether that is like your own business or a hobby of yours, or being involved in the community. So we're going to get some closing advice for you. Okay. We've got compassionate perception. So we'll see what this all entails. And that's card number 20. Oh, excuse me. One of the biggest lessons our souls came here to remember is that of unity. We are here to activate unity by holding compassion for all beings on this planet. It is time to focus on what unites us, not what divides us. This card is a reminder that everyone in your life is your mirror, your teacher, and guide. Whatever you are witnessing in another person at this time that may be triggering is a reflection of something needing the healing energy of acceptance within. Treat everyone as if they were a flower, a reflection of the divine on earth. Choose to view others through the eyes of love and have compassion for what others are holding, for anything less is taking yourself away from the love in your heart, which is your healing balm. This perspective will allow you to see all as one, free from judgments, comparison, ego, and competition. We are all one family on this beautiful earth, and we can only create heaven on earth if we love one another without judgment. This card may also be coming to you as a reminder to forgive someone in your life. Forgiveness is needed to free your heart from disharmony and disholding. This card is also a message to not get distracted by what others are doing and to stay in your own lane. Lead by example with the beauty and compassion of your heart. So yeah, if there was like any insecurity, resentment, jealousy, definitely take a look within, you know? I mean, sometimes we are on the receiving end of behaviors for no reason of our own. And they can be, you know, negative behaviors or positive behaviors. Sometimes people are just mean, or sometimes people are just really nice. But it doesn't hurt to take a look too, to see, like, you know, and if that's the case, you know, if there's behaviors that like really have nothing to do with you, it's just good to acknowledge that and like work on removing yourself from that responsibility, because it can be very difficult, even when we logically know that something isn't like because of us necessarily. Like, oh man, they're treating me like crap and I haven't done anything. Or, oh wow, like they've been so generous to me, I feel guilty because I don't know how I can repay them. You know, sometimes it's just recognizing that, like, okay, this is who this person is, and letting that go. Because, like, even someone being nice to you and having that guilt of, like, oh my God, what do I have to do? That can make us feel insecure, like, oh, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not strong enough, we're not worthy enough. But, you know, it can also put us into a really competitive frame of mind that can make us resentful. Like, oh, why are they doing these nice things for me? Like, are they bragging? Are they shoving it in my face? But, you know, if you might find that as you're reflecting, you notice, like, oh, well, my best friend has been ignoring me, but to be fair, like, I didn't respond to their message twice, like 2 times in a row, 3 weeks ago. I never tried contacting them again. So, or, oh, like, this person just kind of helped me out of the blue. But, you know, I remember a few months ago when I did this for them. So, just kind of seeing, like, how do your relationships reflect your inner self? And then we have 2 cards here. It says re-energize in the natural world. Let your inner hunter or huntress take rest. And it is time for a change. Do not wait or put off decisions any longer. So both things that we did talk about, you know, getting more grounded in the physical realm and going back to address any issues that you may have been putting off. And these are numbers 1 and 5. So you are connected with everything. You are a part of the greater whole. Your soul cries out for peace, for contact with your true inner nature. Immerse yourself in the natural world. The world has surrounded you in this life since birth. It is calling you. Give your inner hunter or huntress time to rest, the part of you that is restless and always looking for something, the next big thing, the next adventure. Yeah, you might need to kind of come down off from, like, trying to constantly get those highs. This card indicates the time has come to take a break. It may also be a test. Listen to the trees. They will speak wisely to you and guide you toward your true potential. Cancel any appointments and arrangements and reflect on where you can really find strength. You know, strength just keeps coming out here. Give yourself time to love yourself and respect your innermost needs. Once you begin to focus exclusively on following the path of your soul, you will never be powerless again. Every step along this path will bring strength. Respect the decision of your soul. Your place of birth is a power place for you, not the room or building in which you were born, but rather the area and the natural world around it. Someone born and raised in the mountains will never feel as at home on a plain as they do in the hills, and the reverse is also true. A secret lies in the place of your origin, your roots. This is where you can not only access your inner reserves of strength, but also experience the light of the blessing that your great mother once gave you. The natural world that your soul has chosen will always inspire you and mature all your experiences, helping you to make sense of them all so that you can be clear about your deepest desires. There may of course be exceptions, but such people will not draw this card. Power animal bull, herbal essential oil nutmeg, healing crystal sunstone, and the number 1. And then let's get into number 5. Okay. It is time for a change. Everything within you is calling out for change, as is your soul. New momentum is in the air and new paths await. Change occurs through change. Break down any rigid structures that can restrict you and hold you back. Begin with changes that are easy for you, such as cleaning the house or throwing out old things that you no longer need. Ask the hairdresser for a different cut, or buy yourself something new to wear. And do something daring, something crazy, something that you have always wanted to do. Then find some like-minded people to share it. Change is more fun if you enjoy it with others who also want to alter something in their lives. Talking about it will give you further impetus and strength. Now is the time, wait no longer. The life is too beautiful to be wasted with avoidance tactics and putting things off. Otherwise, it could pass you by unlived. Begin with simple things and the bigger issues will change by themselves. The key is not to give up. Change something every day and you will see how wonderful things can happen. You are standing on the threshold of a gate of light. If by embracing change you manage to pass through this gate, it will herald the start of a whole new understanding of yourself. Be ready to face everything you find difficult to change, all the dark habits that are like pitfalls ready to trip you up on your soul path. You hold in your hand a great opportunity with this card. Free yourself from self-imposed constraints and you will realize that many things are not what they seem. Power animal phoenix, herbal essential oil pine, healing crystal amethyst, and number 5. All right, group number 3, that is what I have for you today. Let me know if this resonated with you and how in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it if you'd like. And if you want to be part of the family but haven't done so yet, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the notification bell and you'll be alerted to whenever I upload a new video. Bye.